Excuse me. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode number 257. Yeah, I got a comment in my last video of how I pronounce the name of the show I'm reviewing. I pronounce it Boukenger. I thought that's how you pronounce the name. Apparently it's pronounced Boukenger. I'm like, okay. I have called this one Boukenger for the longest time because I look at the name and I think it's how you pronounce it. But apparently it's called Boukenger. Okay. Alright, we'll stick with Boukenger. Whatever. I am not really a big fan of how basically people tend to... You think I might be complaining, but the thing is, I've been calling it that name for months. Here's the thing. Prior to watching this show, I never knew how to properly pronounce the name of the show itself. I just have always pronounced it Boukenger, not Boukenger. Because I looked at the title and I thought that's how you pronounce it. Okay? That's the other truth of the matter. Alright, moving on from that, we're here right discussing episodes 3 to 6 of Boukenger. Yes, episode 3, we're introduced to the third faction of the Negative Syndicate, Dark Shadow. Ninjas! Made up of 3 people. A pretty ninja girl, a guy who basically has the equivalent of Power Rangers, and led by the Master of Illusions, an owl. Yep, and these guys appear in 2 episodes. And they briefly get a chance to meet the High Priest. Get to meet Gaja. Very briefly. How briefly? He's on screen here for about maybe a few minutes. He, I'll bring my chillers. He's like, nah, not necessary. We don't really need the chillers, so, basically the equivalent of the chiller. That's basically what they are. Because when I look at these guys, I see the frickin' chillers. From... even though they call it something else here, let's just basically kind of refer to them as the chillers because that's kind of what they are-ish. So pretty much basically, he offers them and they turn him down. Like, nah, don't really need you, dude. So, he's like, you'll be sorry. And he's never seen the rest of the episode. He actually pops up again in episode 6. Yes, seriously. He pops up in episode 6. And mostly put, he's kind of involved with the main story of the episode itself. Mostly. So, yeah, like I mentioned, members. Yeah. And, of course, Gaja is only here for, like I mentioned, 3 and 6. And that's basically it for him. Basically, the story of this one indicates that there's these 3 scrolls that are basically the pressures of this one, which are 3 weapons from 3 nations. The second one apparently was retrieved by the pretty girl, Sakura of the Wind. Sakuza of the Wind, excuse me, yes. They come again for actually episode 5, where the bird is called Genku of Illusions, and the guy who works them is Yaba of the Darkness. Yep. Excuse me. And for a bit, these are the only factions. There is one more faction that does show up in the series, but from what I read, their appearance is not until episode 17. I'm not going to say who they are just yet, but that's basically what we got here. So basically, the guest cast includes like this. Well, how should I put this? Where it's a rich guy who's got opinions. The third one, he's a big fan of the period, and kind of gets involved in the fact that apparently he kind of knows of Baka Blue, or apparently he was a spy. He's like, yeah, that was me, and this why he enjoyed a thrill. He didn't realize though. He didn't realize that later the trouble he caused with the collapse of countries. He basically he didn't realize that, so he just retired from that life, become an adventurer. This definitely was a good episode, good character piece for the guest star who says, "Oh yeah, I want to do an adventure," and he's like, "Where do you want to go?" And he's never seen it again. The group do show up in episode 5, where they want their hands on this ball, and this whole thing is focused on Baka Pink. This one, where the ball ends up in the hands of a little boy, and by the way, this ball has plans to an ancient tank from the early 20th century, and it's given to this monster of the episode, becomes it, and then of course the tank is destroyed. Becomes giant size. That's it. It's a really interesting episode and great character development for Pink. Yeah. Now 4 mostly is return of. Well, it's basically the GoGo drill, basically this one, and plus also Crazy King Rah Rah returns. Yeah, I kind of suspect he returned because he's here for a good period of time. Yeah, he apparently died back in episode 2. And he only missed 1 episode. He's back here again for episode 4. And what is he on episode 4? Well, mostly put, basically, it's all about this mad weather device that apparently he wanted to get his hands on. I'm like, okay, interesting. I did not really expect that. And also the Precious becomes the monster of the episode, which I believe this is the first in the series a Precious become a monster. The thing is destroyed, and at one point, the I think it's SGS, the organization that Boukenger works for, because of the fact they're in an area that could easily potentially threaten the planet, apparently the higher up decided a good idea to blow up their Zords in order to destroy this device. And the chief is like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's a bad idea. I'm like, so GoGo drill. And use it and to become basically a new auxiliary piece for the Action Man Megazord. Yeah, it's further inside as basically number 6. You think, now I saw this over in Off-Range Overture, like, oh, is this the introduction to the 6th Ranger? Because, number 6? Not really, no. The 6th Ranger will show up a little bit later. That'll probably show in a future video. But this definitely was more focused on the Chief, but mostly for this episode. So I'd say of the 4, excuse me, I say 3 is on blue. 4 is basically, this one anyways, is on red. 5 is focused on pink. Now, in the case of the last one, well, it's a little bit on black, but sad to say about this one, it's an okay episode per se. And also the fact that they fight a monster that's one of basically the monsters from the Gordem civilization. Yes. Here's the strange thing about them. They only have like 5 monsters in the entire series because they keep swapping back and forth between monsters. And this is first the other one. This is Maguri. It was all about getting the head or whatever. You're probably thinking, did he pop up in Operation Overdrive? Yes, as a statue warrior. From the episode Things Not Said, which was the 25th episode of the series. You're thinking, okay, what about the other monsters? Well, there is Drankin, who appeared for, well, this episode. He appeared in episode, let's see. Actually, no, not yet. I don't think in 4, I don't think that he had a monster. No, actually he did. It's basically, well, one of his soldiers, yes. Oh, by the way, they're going to basically to ask about Dark Show. You know what this is? And They have no idea. At least he asked because she asked, which was quite... Oh, at least he asked. Well, and in the case of Dark Shadow, they actually have two monsters. Yes, first is Jagumi, who, I saw in the translation, is referred to as the Lock Monster. And he returns a couple times after this. And also, the Constructor Monster. Yeah, he's in 2 episodes. Now, did he pop up on Operation Overdrive? Yep. In the episode Pirate in Pink, episode 16 of the series. Yep. But what about the first monster they had? Did he pop up? Yes. As Udrong. In the episode Heart of Blue. Which that was the 4th episode of the series. Which made sense, the fact that this creature would show up when, of course, they introduced the counterpart Dark Shadow. Because he was their first monster. Of course. And you're probably thinking, okay. Oh, Magori shows up episode 6. Does he have a counterpart? Well, yeah, he does. Statue Warrior, which I believe he said was, was episode 25. Like, okay. And this is strange, though, that episode 5 has got no monsters. You're thinking, really? Kind of, yes. Well, there is a Madness Warrior, per se. Does he pop up on there? Yes, he does. In episode 5. Yep. Yep, episode 5. That's mostly exactly when he shows up. Yep. Not much else to say here. It's interesting, though, that these organizations do not have many monsters. I mean, the Gordon have 5. How many did the Joe Tribe had? They had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 monsters. Dark Shadow had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, basically of the first 3, I'd say that Dark Shadow had the most monsters, though they had 2 monsters for this one. Yep. Of course, Jero Tribe had basically a Preshko Rogue, and of course, basically Gordon had 1 monster. By the way, they do have another Giant God. Now, Giant God Dordum, did he pop up on Operation Overdrive? Yes, he did, as the Atlantis Temple. Which was episode 3 of the show. Yep. So you're thinking, wait a minute. So Monster Show, the first episode of that show, shows up in episode 3 of the Calabar show? Yes. Seriously. Now, there is one new Megazord, one new Zord makes his debut here. Well, we have the Drill, obviously. We have debut of Shovel. Yeah, this is basically this thing's they call it the GoGo shovel, which is to put a grabber. Yes, it's a piece of construction equipment that they repurpose to fight monsters. And it does pop up for episodes 5 and 6. Does not see anything in episode 11. Yeah, like in the case of the monsters, basically some of these things skip episodes. Which, that is interesting. Now, GoGo Drill was first piloted by the Red Ranger. And of course, basically got piloted by, of course, the Red Ranger. Well, first was red and yellow. Yep. Now, I think over time we're going to use more of these particular machines. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Yep. But yeah, not much else to say for these 4 episodes. They're pretty good. Now, it's like we start with a quick 2 loosely connected episodes. And mostly put in the case of these 4, it's 4 standalone. And like, in the case of things we have here, it like 3 was introduced to a new thing, and then, well, 4 was introduced to a new vehicle. So it was 5. 6 is basically just no introduction, just basically just a monster of the week. It basically felt like filler. Because it didn't feel like advanced plot. It's all about Black Ranger where he's basically scared of a curse. Yep. But yeah, that's it, particular view. Next up, Jujutsu Kaisen. Next view. Bye.